This is the OS Final project presented by Ann-Vanessa and Adi Freely. So this project is a multi-threaded web server that can handle multiple HTTP requests at the same time. And we'd used command line parameters to specify the number of threads. And as the name suggests, it serves a request in first come first serve basis. So to run the server, you would have to put the following code in your terminal that specifies the name of the server, the base directory, the port, the threads, and the buffers. The base directory is a root directory from which the web server should operate, and the server should ensure that the file accessors do not access files above this directory. And for the default, the directory is a full stop. For the ports, it specifies the port number that the web server should listen on. And the basic web server already handles this argument, and the default is 10000. For the threads is the number of worker threads that should be created within the web server, and it must be a positive integer. The defaults that we used in this project was 4. Lastly, for the buffers, the number of buffers, requests, connections that can be accepted at one time, and it must also be a positive integer. The command line arguments can be changed based on your preferences. So for example, in this case, the web server is called wserver. The directory is still a full stop. The port number is 8003. The number of threads is 8. And the buffer number is 1000.
For the next part, we'll be looking at the source code overview. So we provide the following files: the webserver.c file, the request.c file, the IO helper header and c file, the web clients.c file, the spin.c file, and the make file. So the web server file called wserver.c contains the main function for the web server and the basic serving loop, which is an infinite loop that allows requests to be made. The next file, which is the request.c file, performs most of the work for handling requests sent in by the client in the basic web server. The IO helper header file and the IO helper source code C file contain wrapper functions for the system calls invoked by the web server and client. The header file simply defines these functions, but the source code.c file initializes them. So the convention is to add or die to an existing call to provide a version that either succeeds or exits. For example, the open system call is used to open a file, but can fail for a number of reasons. As a result, the wrapper open or die either successfully opens a file or exits upon failure. Next is the wclients.c file, which contains main and the support routines for the simple web clients. So by launching wclients multiple times, you can test how your server handles concurrent requests. The spin.c file is a simple CGI program which basically spins for a fixed amount of time and would be useful in testing various aspects of the server. Finally, the make file creates wserver, wclient, and spin.cgi. And when you type make, it creates these programs which are executable files for the various source code files. And you can type make clean to remove the object files and the executables, and make server to create just a server program. This is our reference.
So we are going to take you through a demo of our project. We start by running the default with the client first. Now we are going to run with the ports 8003 and the buffer 1000. So the left side shows how the server handles the requests from the client using threads, and the right shows the responses the client receives from the server, which is basically the content of the files it received.